Hey everybody, Jeff Bernard with Solve Systems here, and today we're going to build a Microsoft Power App for COVID-19 self-assessment for employees. In this tutorial, we will learn how to build a SharePoint list real quick with some questions from a self-assessment, and then we're going to make a rudimentary Power App with that information. We're going to submit it back to a SharePoint list. We're going to run it through Power Automate, and we're going to have a recurring trigger every morning to send a push notification to the employee to take the self-assessment. And on top of that, we're going to notify a management person whenever any of the questions amount to yes that the employee's answered. So hang on tight. We're getting going. Let's go. Okay, starting from the top, we have a PDF with some questions, and this was in a previous video on how to build a COVID-19 Power App in Microsoft Forms, but here we're going to use the same thing, and you'll be able to find this link in the video description. So we have this information. We are only, for the sake of this video, going to use the first 3 points. We're not going to use everything. We're not going to use signature, supervisor signatures, facilities, visiting today. You can add all those things, or I can add them and build this out for you and deploy it on your organization. All you have to do is send me a contact form follow-up. So we have these first 3 questions, and what are we going to do with those? Well, we're going to go to a SharePoint list. We're going to add a created column, a created by column to show who this record was submitted by. We're going to put the first question right here, and if you go to edit, you'll see that I used a choice column rather than a yes and no column. The reason why is because if I used a yes or no column, when you would bring this in the Power Apps, it would make some toggle buttons, which don't necessarily look that great. They're just like switches, and they kind of don't make sense to me. So we made a choice column with yes or no in all caps, and then we added some color coding, so we'll be able to visually see when these tests are submitted. And this is the same type of column for the other 2 behind this one. Again, you can add any type of information that you want to here to make the app more thorough, as well you should, because there's more things in the self-assessment than 3 questions. So we're going to go into Power Apps now. We have our COVID-19 data source right here. If you need some help remembering how to do that, go to View, Data Sources. We're going to go to SharePoint, and you're going to bring it in here. And then we are going to go grab a form. And by doing that, you will go to Insert. You'll go to Edit. And then we're going to go to the right-hand side of the screen. We're going to pick COVID data. And it's going to bring in our fields. And let's expand this form a bit. Go to my tree, expand the form. Take out title. I don't like using the title column because it's hard-coded in there and it doesn't change very pretty. It's hard to patch stuff when you get in more complex apps. We're going to take out the attachment. That's always in there as well. And so we're left with 3 questions. I'm going to change the bounding size of this box, and we're going to add a button by clicking button up here. And then we're going to click Submit Form 4. I've done this a few times if you can't tell, because I kept messing up on the videos. Okay, so now we have a way to submit that information back. And one last thing that you're going to want to do, click the form and click Default Mode New, or else it will not show when you hit play, which is important. So we have everything we need to do in here. We're going to go save it. We're going to publish it. Okay. That's it in Power Apps. Now we're going to go into Flow. We click New, and I call it Flow because I got started on it when it was in Flow, but it's Power Automate, as you should know. So drop down New, and then we'll click Instant from blank. We're going to click Skip. I don't like choosing options there. I'm not quite sure why. And then we'll set up our recurring trigger first. So type in there we go, recurrence. We're going to say 1 for the interval. For the frequency, we're going to say day. We're going to show advanced options. And then we're going to say 6 every day. And then we're going to get a push notification. So type push, V2. We're going to find the mobile app, Power Apps. It's based on the environment name. COVID-19 app for your app. And then in recipients, I'm going to type myself. Okay, so we have that, and then we're going to type in the message, we're going to say, please fill out the COVID self-assessment. Good to go there. Click yes for opening the app. This will pop open the app whenever someone gets a push notification, which is pretty cool. Then we'll save it. And so we'll know it's at the top of the list, but you should probably name it something other than just recurrence flow. Okay? And then what you'll see is what you'll see here is right after you do it, right after you publish this Power Automate, you will have the COVID-19, please fill out this COVID-19 self-assessment, okay? And then whenever an employee hits that, it'll bring them straight to the app every morning at 6 a.m. So we're good to go on that. We're going to go back to My Flows. We're going to click New, Instant, Skip, nope, we're going to go to SharePoint. Click SharePoint, and then when item is created. Make sure you choose when an item is created. We're going to get some choices. We're going to pick test site. We're going to pick COVID-19 data because that's the name of our SharePoint list. Then we're going to get those items. Get item. So there's a difference. There's get items and get item. Get item is what we want. And then we're going to choose the same site, the same list, and the unique identifier of the item created. And that's going to say, okay, that item was created. Here's its ID. And here this little guy and our girl and our person is. And then we're going to add in a condition. We're going to pick our questions, and we're going to want to make sure that it is the COVID-19 positive for COVID-19 value. Okay, equal to, and then we're going to type yes, all caps. We're going to add another row, and before you move on, make sure that this and you toggle it to or, because then it'll go through and check each one rather than and. We don't want it to evaluate each one against another. We want to look for the yeses. And then we're going to pick the next question. Yes. Pick the next one. The last question in this instance. Yes. And if you were to have a longer list, you would just iterate through the list by doing this. Next, we're going to go to the if yes branch. And we're going to simply send a push notification, and we're going to select the V2 push notification. We're going to click the same thing that we did in the recurrence trigger for the app. We're going to choose COVID-19, and then we're going to send it to myself because I am the only one in this Office 365 tenant. If I try to push it to anyone else, it will not happen. Okay. Message is positive COVID assessment for, and then we'll say created by display name. So then we'll know who it's for within the organization. And then we're going to click yes. And if we wanted to get real fancy with it, we would make a gallery where we would have this information that only the HR people, whoever this stuff needs to be directed to, that only they would be able to see. And that is a video for a different time. Okay. So we have all this information in there. We're all saved up. And then we're going to go into the app. We're going to hit play. And let's test her out. Let's just say yes for all of them. This person is a rebel. And then it says no item to display, but it submitted it to the SharePoint list. And then you'll see in the SharePoint list that information has been updated. The values are reading yes to the questions. And then we'll see this pop up. It doesn't run automatically for some reason. It is odd that it doesn't, but I've tested this a few times. And if we go back to when an item is created, it will have run. And what that looks like in practice is we'll have to get it. See, there you go. Positive COVID assessment for Jeff Bernard. Unfortunately, in this instance, I have COVID. I do not and have not in real life. And so by looking at that, we'll see what it did in practice was when that item was created from Microsoft Power Apps and submitted to the SharePoint list, we listened for that. We got it. We got the items. We evaluated the condition to true, all of those conditions. And then we sent a push notification to ourselves. If you need help deploying this within your organization, I would love nothing more than to help. Otherwise, like and subscribe to the channel to get some more of my updates. And that is it. We'll talk to you later. Have a good one.